Alright. Give me a sec, guys. I'm just doing last minute setups. Da, 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 da. Set things up here and there. Question is, what set of games will I just randomly put on? Um, hmm. Oh, feel free, AJ. I mean, it's just gonna be, well, any topics on the table. It's gonna be random tonight. Just spin the wheel. Oh, maybe I'll go back to playing. Oh, dang. What was that? Roguelike survival horror game I usually play a lot of. That's usually a good thing to mess around with. Doorways, demonic. Where was? Except I've forgotten the name of it. That's the thing. Because I was thinking of playing Naissance again. At the same time, I mean, I get virtual motion sickness. I drop if I hat whenever I play a first person game for some reason. They Or I could play Hellsign. They've been through a couple of updates. Well, I get the feeling that game's gonna be insanely hard right now. That's the thing about getting a lot of games on Steam. It's like you have a huge library to browse through, and there's no way to. In fact, I'm not even sure if I could set it up to show only the ones I've installed, just to narrow things down a bit. Actually, maybe I should play Phasmophobia live. Actually, slashes. Whoa. I think that would be the game starting. Yes, it is. Actually, teleglitch. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Maybe I'll play that. That's a good thing to, like, chill out to. So, yeah, I'll just back out of Naissance and just play some retro style game. And honestly, part of the reason why I don't have any specific topics. What the? What do you mean it has to install? It was already installed. What does the thing have to go through an update? Well, that's a load of bull. Up, Sudden updates are like the bane of my existence right now. Every time I'm ready to go, I get interrupted by, sorry, this needs to update. For crying out loud, if the thing's working before, then let it work. What is this? Is this an online thing where it has a. Well, of course it's an online thing. It's on Steam. But, but what did they. Uh, yeah, my PC's getting a little glitchy here. Actually, I just want to check on something. Okay. I will. Well, shit. Steam crashed. Well, that's just great. Steam crashed. Really? She's doing even better than I. Well, probably not too hard to do better than I am on Twitch because I don't do anything on Twitch. What game is she playing? Phil. I swear, if she's playing Fortnite all the time.
Hey, give me a minute.
What's up, AJ?
All right, I'm trying to get the setup right. All right, there you go.
Yeah, apparently Dave says he's a little sick, so he's probably not gonna jump on, which is a
That's
shame.
fine.
He's fun to talk to.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure we can think of some topics or whatever that we can talk about without David just for one time. And
Yeah.
besides, he could like jump into next. He can jump into next time and then like correct things if we anything that we get wrong on topics that he's more familiar with.
Yeah. Well, apparently you knew someone who had some first-hand experience with Fallout Frontier.
Yes, so one of my college buddies on Twitch, he goes by the name of Kimchi Commander. He did a like a really solid long playthrough of Fallout Frontier, and I know because I was watching it while, he was playing it, and but pretty much our reactions to it were like pretty like good at first when we saw it. I'm like, okay, like this is actually pretty good. But the further and further we went on, we're like, really, like this is like the direction they want to go. And finally, the tipping point was the lizard part, which I'm pretty sure I don't need to explain to you.
You know, the ironic thing is that the actual Fallout lore already has quasi lizard type people. They're really just geckos. So they
Yeah,
didn't.
they were in Fallout 2 in New Vegas, weren't they?
Yeah. So they didn't even need to create a new race of lizard people.
Yeah, that's what confused me. Like my Twitch buddy, like he's really into the Fallout lore, and like he's like the kind of guy who like really digs deep into a franchise. Like he wants to know like as much things as possible. And when he saw the lizard people, he was like he was confused by like one was like the obvious thing, and two he was like, why are there lizard people like this when there's already, like you said, there's already lizard people in the Fallout universe. And another thing was like he apparently found out that those were like Unity Store asset lizard characters, not like original models.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so like that even just heightened up like the questionability of like why this was added. That's when we realized like, oh crap, like because the fact that these lizard characters were Unity store assets and not, characters they found in the game's data that was not used or they made from scratch, like that's when we realized like, oh, this edition must have been last minute or it must have been like something that the most of the development team did not want to do, but then like the head honcho developers like putting a gun to their head figuratively. It's like put this in the game or else this project's gonna it's not gonna proceed and you're gonna get screwed, something like that.
Yeah, I heard something about uh there is some kind of like highly talented modder among them that's kind of like their head honcho who is
I have no
who
idea.
who has potentially questionable taste and yeah is obsessive with what he puts in. Basically his main rule is that you cannot edit what he puts in. And if you try to,
Yeah,
he'll just edit it back.
apparently, the main developer of the Fallout Frontier mod could really not handle criticism of any kind, like whatsoever. He kicked off one of the developers because he called him out on like the some more questionable decisions. And of course, I mentioned in your last stream the the single developer, the only guy who worked on like the code for the car, physics, driving, and all that stuff. He almost died from malnourishment, hunger, and dehydration because he spent most of his time on a computer typing the code trying to get the thing done.
What is this modding team? Naughty Dog Studios?
I don't. That's the thing. I don't know honestly. I asked the Twitch guy and Kimchi Commander like if he knew more, and even he doesn't know. Like he thought like they were just like fans of the game who were just also savvy with modding. But yeah, like apparently he doesn't even know if they're like some professional like developers who just banded together and tried to make a mod, or if it was just a bunch of fans who want to make a mod. Regardless, a lot of the stuff that they put in the game was questionable. I was even in the server, the Discord server for that development, just to see if I could like get some information ahead of the of everyone else. And let me tell you, some of the stuff I read in that Discord server really made me glad I jumped ship as soon as I did.
Yeah. Although one thing's for sure, I would love if somebody still has the original version of this mod, for somebody to send this over to Seth or Mandalore Gaming.
Mm.
Have preferably
Oh man,
Seth, because that would be hilarious. Or if Medicare hasn't died of cancer, maybe Medicare
yeah.
he would
Well,
he would get a kick
norm
out of this.
yeah. I mean, normally when like you download off of Nexus, your PC does keep the mod in and of itself, doesn't it? Like it's not like
Yeah,
once it's off Nexus, like as long as you download it, it's still in your PC, right?
yeah, that's usually I believe that's how it should work because it's not like in Steam where they just have the ability to constantly update it because it's whenever because you log into the Steam app and then the Steam app will just automatically download and update your files. I mean,
Right. Like
I don't
even
even
I
I don't even need an account to download stuff off of the Nexus.
right.
So yeah,
Like
so
even
someone
even
out
I
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
someone out there probably has an original copy, and if you do, keep that shit. Just store it on a hard drive or multiple hard drives somewhere, because that is as cringy as it is. It is going to be a rare item after all of this.
Yeah, the thing is like I think there is or are, I should say, I think there are plenty of people out there who did um somehow preserve the original version of this mod, and they're
Yeah.
just probably just like being cautious and not, releasing it to anyone. Otherwise, they might get you know notifications by the original dev team.
Yeah, they might get a legal notice or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm guessing like they probably just want to keep it secret, which is probably for the best right now.
Oh, she's not going by Ava
I
Cool
mean,
Kid anymore. She's gone by Ann for streams, Phil. Yeah, my niece.
the she changed her name.
Yeah, I remember last time. I think she had a YouTube channel called Ava Cool Kid. But yeah, she wants to do a game stream, so I say let her have fun. Yeah.
Have the equipment or the money to start. I mean,
Uh,
I'd be mostly playing like games that nobody else would normally play.
well, that's cool. I mean, some games people do need to know about. In fact, I'm surprised to find that not many people are streaming the medium when I was streaming it.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
everyone is too busy streaming Resident Evil Village. I think that's overtaken the survival horror fans right now for
Okay.
tall
Could you?
reasons.
I mean, could you? All right, that's another thing. Can you explain that to me? Like, could you explain to me why like the vampire lady or whatever she is so popular? Like, I personally think like yeah, it's a good character design, but I'm like I don't understand why like so many people are going crazy over her.
Well, one thing it's the whole waifu thing where it's like she looks
Mm,
attractive, so it's like a lot. She's busty, she's attractive, and she's tall. So it might have triggered like the people who are into like tall girl fetish things,
okay.
and it's also kind of the way she carries herself, because she kind of has the. I mean, she all. I mean, granted, it is kind of she's supposed to have this sort of sinister personality, but it also comes off as seductive. So I think it's really
Hmm.
just the waifu culture that's really getting in on this.
Okay. Well, that's as good as explanation as any. To me, I was like, whenever I saw the trailer or whatever, I was like, oh man, this game looks like insanely good. Like the polygons look amazing. The textures are like really like shiny and like these. I cannot get over the textures honestly because I'm a work like trying to master everything about 3D art myself, and I'm like, this is so cool. And then the vampire lady comes out, I'm like, dang, like her model's amazing. Just like the whole like fingernail thing, I'm like, oh man, like I can't wait to like fight her in a game. And when I look up online, all I see is like, oh my god, like this is like the hottest like chick in the Resident Evil game ever. I'm like, I don't get it.
It it's the internet, man. I mean, we've seen this happen with every female Pokemon character so far. So,
I kind of wish I didn't know about that.
but yeah, it's like you notice that when the new ones or when the new like gym leaders come out, they already do fan art of her
Yeah, yeah.
and fan art of her.
I know what you mean, yeah.
I mean,
No,
that's
I
that's
saw
the
a
internet,
meme.
guys.
Yeah. No, I saw a meme where do you remember the scene from I think it was like Toy Story 2, I think it was, where Woody has that yeah, it is Toy Story 2, where there's a scene where Woody has a nightmare where like he gets replaced by um all these different other toys because Andy doesn't want him anymore. He has like that look is like, I don't want to play with you anymore. And he just drops Woody, right? You know that scene?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's apparently a meme where it's like um, it was just back when like Pokemon, I think, God, I think it was Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think it is when it was brand new, and when the gym leader characters were being released. Well, what's the water gym leader's name in Sword and Shield?
I forgot. I
But
know.
like she has like that. She has like that like Olympian swimmer like gear. There was a whole controversy about her being too light skinned in some fan arts or whatever.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, but like that's the character, and someone made a meme where it's like Andy's like fans of Pokemon, and then there's like the assistant professor as Woody, and the fans are like, "Oh, there's a new, female character. I don't want to fap to you anymore." He just drops the assistant professor in the trash.
Yeah, but I've seen like a similar meme where it's like, or another meme where it's like it's like one of the new female Pokemon characters is just looking looking up herself up online, and she's got this shocked look on her face while the previous one is just standing right next to her. It's like, don't worry, you'll get used to it.
Oh yeah, I've seen those before. Oh, that was when like you remember when Bowsette was like the like hot new thing on the internet for a time?
Oh yeah, and they bows at everything.
Yeah. No, but there was one where like Bowser and Mario are looking at the computer screen, like they Googled themselves and they're looking at each other like that's, this is really gross. This is nasty. And then Sonic the Hedgehog pops up and he goes, "You guys ain't seen nothing yet."
Yes. Oh my god, it's a Sonic community.
And like his face was like, get on, like had that like expression like, please, like get on my level, scrubs.
Yeah.
Oh my god. There are some things I wish I could just avoid when it comes to like certain things. This is probably the reason why I don't join fandoms anymore.
Good enough reason as
Like,
any.
yeah, like I can't stand like, well, like it's not even like I hate fandoms. Like I should say I hate the state of fandoms now.
Uh huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hate how it's not about sharing an interest or having fun and just enjoying the fact that we have something in common. It's all about like, oh, my opinion is more valid than your opinion, and if anyone disagrees with it, then you're not a quote unquote a true fan. Like
Well,
I don't understand that.
yeah. I mean, it's become it's become more cult like over time.
Hmm.
I mean that's one of the annoying things about fandoms nowadays. They've gotten like more and more insane.
God, when did this start? Like,
I don't even know.
I want to know. Like, I want to, like, I'm genuinely curious. Like, what was the cause that that made people go from like, hey, you like this thing, I like this thing too, to now like, if you don't like this thing, then you're against me and everything or whatever. It's like, God,
You know,
like,
it sounds like it kind of mixed in with progressive movements. So I think when people were fighting against censorship, those who those who had major causes kind of got
uh,
mixed in with fandoms that were trying to protect their content from being censored. So
uh,
that might have something to do with that.
God, I, no, because like I remember there was a one other like podcast that I used to watch. I'm not sure if they're still active anymore. They call themselves Cheshire Cat Studios. Have you heard of them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but like one of their members uh brought up a legitimate claim that, and you just let me know if you think I'm talking too much. I don't want to make it a one-side conversation here.
Well, go on.
But yeah, but this one guy, he said like he thought like the reason why some fandoms go off the rails is because the fact that like some of these people, the more vocal fans, they have like very little in terms of like life experience on their own. Like they basically lived in front of a computer screen or a TV screen most of the time, and thus their perception of reality is warped by what they saw in entertainment. And when they go out into the real
Yeah. I, I get where you're going with this. It could very well be that just as simple as that, where
never
they just
experienced what it's actually like to be in the real world, and and they basically became like these weird like zombies, where it's like the TV shows, the games, or whatever the media they consume became quotations here, their identity, and any attack on that stuff is like attack on them as a person. Like, what do you think on that?
yeah. I think that's part of what the issue. That's also part of what the oh shit. Just realized I'm getting shot at. But yeah, that's part of what the issue is that they've never developed their own character themselves into their own character, so they're too busy living vicariously through other forms of media.
Mm,
I mean, that's also part of what how this became a cultish thing. I mean, it's not these people haven't quite lived their own lives, so they don't value their own lives. They value the lives of things that happen
fictional
outside of their
characters.
lives.
Yeah, like it's really sad. How like how could people get this way? Like, what was the cause? I know the easy answer is bad parenting, but there's got to be more to that. Like, it can't just be bad parenting. Like, there's got to be other reasons.
I think it might be just easy access to everything. I mean, granted, easy access to media is good, but it has a bad side effect of letting people kind of it it kind of has that bad side effect of when you get easy access to everything, you get this sort of instant gratification. You don't get a sense of earning things. You just get a sense of
Mm-hmm.
taking things. So they take all this stuff, but they never really work for this.
Mm.
I mean, I've seen this happen a lot before in various people. I mean, like TikTok. One friend of
Mm-hmm.
mine described TikTok as like the potato chips of media consumption. I mean, it's not fulfilling, but it's addictive, so you just want to watch the next video and the next video and the next video.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how it is right now. That's also part of the reason why some of these people they don't think too far ahead in life because they're so used to the instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes a delayed gratification it's good. It can help you build character. But
Yeah.
but yeah, we're living in an instant gratification society where everything has to be instantaneous. It's also one of the reasons I suspect that people have very short memories.
Like, you think diseases like Alzheimer's is gonna be more prevalent in future generations if this keeps up?
Well, I'm not thinking in terms of that. I'm just thinking in terms of people people will instantly forget old information as soon as new information contradicts it.
Mm.
That's what I've noticed. Is like what some people will take a hard stance on one particular issue, and then all of a sudden they've taken a completely different stance because it's trendy, and they forgot how much they were on such an older stance. Some people some people forget how where some of the stuff they've complained about were started by some of the people that they used to support. That's kind of how it
Uh,
is.
could you give like an example of that?
I mean, the example I keep going back to is the whole coronavirus thing that happened like throughout 2020. I remember at the start of the year, pe- when The only people who were calling it out and saying that this is going to be a problem were on the fringe, and because they're on the fringe, you had so many people. I mean, let's just say that there were just right wingers saying that this was going to be a problem, but because they were right wingers, every left winger out there is saying, "Oh, these guys are just trying to find an excuse to be racist towards Asian people. It's just a myth or a conspiracy theory. Nothing's gone wrong in China, sort of deal. No war in Ba Sing Se." Then as soon as Trump says that this is not going to be a big deal, they flipped and said, "Oh my God, it's the end of the world. The coronavirus is going to end up killing us all." It's
God,
I remember the minute that happened, and what I was thinking, I'm like, "What the fuck? How was no one? How no one was able to call that out is just baffling to me." The very same
uh,
people who are calling the COVID crisis as nothing more than a conspiracy theory is now flipping out that the COVID crisis is real. And they were wondering, why didn't you guys warn us? We did! And I mean, that's just a head banging on the table moment for me.
God, there's some certain things about these current generation of people that just like really boggles my mind as I observe. I'm like, I don't understand like what your like reasoning and your logic comes from. It's like because like I meet people because I met people who are like, oh yeah, like we're all for minorities and whatever. I'm like, oh okay, that's cool. And as soon as I get like someone giving me a hard time, and I can just easily tell them to promptly just go away. All of a sudden, these people are like, no, 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 no. Like you can't defend yourself. So let me come in and come to your rescue. I'm like, I don't need you to come to my aid. I can handle this myself. And then of course when I tell them that, they get up in arms and be like, oh, then you're just perpetuating this stereotype that you're weak. I'm like, I don't follow. Like I really do not follow your logic here. It's confusing.
Yeah, I've seen that kind of thing happen before, where it's like we, it's like these people want damsels in distress to rescue.
Yeah, it's like they don't know like how to seek out actual people who need help, or tell the difference, or allow people to fight their own battles so that they can grow as people. I mean, that's how I did it. Pretty sure
Yeah.
that's how you did it too. Like some people let you fight your own battles, and you won or you lost, but you learned from them.
Yeah.
God, I remember. Do you remember? This was like about a couple months ago, but do you remember this hilarious video Ryan Reynolds made regarding this very topic?
Yeah.
Like, you actually remember it?
I mean, not not well. What was he doing?
So he basically, those like apps where like it takes like your lips, and you can like use your phone to like basically like Photoshop your the things you say, your lip movement onto like another person's head. Like there's an app for that.
Oh yeah, the face swapping app.
Yeah, something like that. Well, like I don't remember. I'm just showing my age because I don't use apps like that. But like Ryan Reynolds basically like did it for like a whole bunch of like celebrities from Hollywood, and he basically just said like what we were thinking. It's like I would like to apologize for thinking I'm some kind of white savior to all of the people who I believe need help, but in reality they can fight for themselves. And like I don't want people to forget me because I'm not famous anymore. So that's why I'm making these social awareness videos, even though I couldn't care less about what's actually going on. And it was all Ryan Reynolds as pretending to be these celebrities, and
Oh my god.
no, and then like so many of those people that he used in those videos got so mad at him, and they're like calling Ryan Reynolds like, you know, you like you're the guy, you're like the reason why like the world's in the state it's in or whatever. He's like, I just made a joke, but you know, thank you for proving my point.
Yeah, it's just
So,
it also highlights like what is so wrong with these people sometimes.
well, I think it's like they're disconnected from like reality so much. It's not because like they're actors, right? It's mostly because like they're only in certain social circles, and because they get so used to that, they have no idea what's actually like elsewhere or like in other like groups.
Yeah, out of touch.
Yeah, specifically like with like anyone who's not in like, since we're talking about Hollywood actors, basically anyone outside of Hollywood. Like they really don't understand most, except for like some actors do, like, but mostly they're foreign actors, like Chris Hemsworth, right? The guy who plays Thor in the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he had moments where like he, you know, said some stupid stuff about like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend people. But when like, but then like when people actually ask him um, like behind closed doors or at times when he feels like he's free to express his actual like thoughts, like he would tell people like Hollywood's like so full of like, you know, BS. Like I don't like I really don't understand like how they can think and act this way.
Well,
And I'm like, okay, good, Chris Hemsworth, like standing up for yourself.
I mean, they play pretend for a living. They're so used to saying all the things that they don't mean and actually looking like they mean it. So I always take it with a mountain of salt whenever they do like any public service announcement video for any like particular cause or anything like that.
Uh,
I mean, these are people who make a living off of reading scripts. Of course, they're gonna be full of BS sometimes.
I think it's funny that like a lot of people, especially a lot of people today, they forget how like I don't know. It's because I know this stuff because I actually bottled looking stuff up, but like it wasn't that long ago, in the grand scheme of all things, where people like actors and performers were seen as like the lowest tier like people in society. Like they were seen as like, oh, like you're an actor, like whatever, like get out of here, scrub. Like it's only been like recent, and by recent I mean like since like the golden age of Hollywood was what, like a couple of decades ago, like
Hmm.
what, like the 19 like 30s and 40s, the golden age of Hollywood. That was when like all of a sudden like, oh my god, like actors and performers like so amazing and whatnot. They're like the you know the morals of society.
Yeah. Well,
It's not that long ago, but people think it's long ago because they haven't experienced it. But like you study it, it's like, yeah, it's only been a couple of decades compared to like hundreds of years where actors, singers, and performers were looked down upon throughout most of history.
yeah. I think nowadays they're seen as more or less like rock stars, whereas like
Mm-hmm.
people are more fans of the performer than they are of the art or the character or the film
Mm-hmm.
or anything else for that matter. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows George Clooney, everyone knows Nicolas Cage and everything, but but that's but with that fame comes like this. Oh shit! Freaking everyone's got guns right now. But yeah, with that fame comes with the whole thing on influencers. The whole idea of being able to influence people. So what happens is that because these guys are so well known and so well loved, they're seen as a means of controlling the masses through their own influence. I mean, why do you think these guys are constantly like reading scripts for different political values? Oh shit!
I'm actually watching you play your game, so I'm laughing because I'm seeing what's on screen, not because I'm laughing at what you're saying. Unless you actually say something that I think is funny. You better run. You better start running.
I'm like,
nah.
everyone's got a gun. Yeah, the guns make this game harder in the later level. Because this is like, people are harder. Shit!
Well, that's a sign of good difficulty setting, right?
Yeah. First you're fighting like zombies that just basically swarm in at you in large numbers. Now you're fighting like fairies. Uh-oh. Alright.
Yeah.
Here we go.
But
yeah,
but enough about.
But that's also a part of the reason why so much of the establishment hates YouTubers, because they're kind of like influencers that cannot be controlled. I mean, YouTubers operate independently, so they're not gonna be told to read a script from their manager or their agent or anything like that. Oh shit.
Yeah, it's like the exclusivity club has now been like widened, so to speak. It's still an exclusivity club, the membership has expanded.
Yeah.
And now these like super elite celebrities feel like, oh no, like we're being threatened. It's like, not really. Like, you're still like wealthy. You still have like people like, you know, who remember you. And who's to say some of these people who are joining the circle were not influenced by you? Like people who loved your movies, loved your performances, and they want to emulate you. I mean, isn't that how it usually goes? Like,
yeah.
The reason why certain things are still around is because like other people saw it and they saw how good other people did it, or like how good the results were, and they wanted to like do that themselves, and thus like it continues the cycle. Like, am I crazy here, or is this like
yeah, that's how it's supposed to be, where a lot of these new and up and coming guys, I mean, they were often inspired by the stars that came before. I mean, Razorfist was inspired by this major comedian. I forgot his name, but he was around. And yeah, even Yahtzee was inspired by another famous person.
Jeez, I'm trying to think of here, but like even like other like YouTube content creators, like they were inspired by like other YouTube content creators. Like just look how many like game critics that came to be because of people like the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. Like there's so many game critics now because of people like him. Quite frankly, I wish there were I wish there were a few lesser game critics right now, because a lot of them have the problem of just being like, how do I describe it?
It's very saturated right now, and a lot of them are just being like, well, a cheaper version of AVGN, where they're just angrily ranting about stuff.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. They're some of them are being very derivative of other creators instead of like trying to be like a genuine critic as themselves. But like you said, they're trying to just be derivative of AVGN or somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I was inspired by Razorfist, but I'm not gonna. That doesn't mean I'm gonna don a leather jacket and aviators and actually try to pretend to be a metalhead, because then I'd be just a shittier version of him. No, it's like I'm not gonna try to steal that. I'm gonna be my own thing. I'm also partially inspired by Raging Golden Eagle. That doesn't mean I'm gonna start like showing off anime like hentai material everywhere or waifu girls everywhere. I'm more of a horror themed kind of guy, so my adult themes are just gotta be more horror related.
Right. Like you want to like show that, yeah, even though you're drawing influence from other people, you in the end ultimately developed your own style, your own type of like material, you know, so that you can actually seem like you're original, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
What's the saying? Like there's no originality left in the world anymore. but like you can try to like mix things. So the best thing to do is to mix things together and see what you can conjure up.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm trying to do stuff like that. Like I'm like pretty sure. Uh,
Oh
can we
shit.
say his name? Just watch out. Can we say other people's names here on the stream, or do they prefer for us to use their usernames for
Let's
the
go with
stream?
usernames.
Okay, so um, Exalted Speed or Domino Blue, or whichever one he prefers. Um, like he and I and a couple other people, like we're trying to like make our own indie uh, comic publishing company, right?
God damn
And
it!
yeah, watch out.
Sorry, but
So
yeah, I hear
it's all right.
you're making indie comic stuff.
Yeah, we're trying to make our own indie comics company, and some of our characters, well, actually say for me, a lot of my characters are like very much inspired by like mainstream heroes like Superman, Batman, the Avengers, and all that stuff. And I wouldn't say they're ripoffs, but they're more like tributes to them,
Yeah,
right?
you can do that.
And like my main character, who's like this de- shinobi detective, he was inspired by characters like Batman, Green Hornet, the Black Bat. I'm trying to think of there's the Phantom, like those old like pulp heroes.
Oh yeah.
Like that's who I was more inspired by. But if you look at my character design and you look up his like the synopsis of this character, you'll probably think like, oh, like this is actually like a new thing. It's not, a ripoff of anything else.
Yeah.
Like one other guy we have on our team, like he wants to use the DC team, the Doom Patrol, but since we can't use that, he's making his own version of the team with public domain characters, and I'm not sure what their final name of it, but they have like a team name, but it's basically like the stories he wanted to see with the Doom Patrol characters, but he's doing it with public domain characters instead, or some original characters that he thought of.
All right. Yeah,
I mean,
that's good.
even like
So, so you gotta like join in with the comic skate crowd.
um, I'm I'm honestly ignorant to what Comicsgate and Gamergate and all that stuff was, mostly just because like I just like was too busy trying to get my life together to care, honestly, about internet drama. So, um, honestly, I'm still ignorant. Like, I
Well,
still don't know much about what
Gamergate is
Comicsgate
like a
and
story in and of
Gamergate is.
itself, but Comicsgate, I believe, is it's essentially a bunch of guys got together because they're not really they're dissatisfied with the state of the comic industry right now, so they decide to do indie projects. I think
Mm-hmm.
funded through crowdfunding. They decide to do like various indie comic projects and try to make
Mm-hmm.
their own comics. And a lot of these guys are just YouTubers who just promoted their own stuff. I know Raging Golden Eagle is part of Comics Gay. He has his own comic called Blade Devil, which he spends half his stream trying to shill. There's there, yeah, there's there's Jawbreakers. That's another one. There's Cyberfrog. I mean it's got its own drama within its own
Mm-hmm.
community, but these are guys trying to strike out on their own and make stuff that they want to read and they know other people want to read. And meanwhile, their main opponents are just the main professionals within the comics industry who are just trying to take them down in one way, shape, or form. I think I forgot whether it was even Van Scifer or not, but I think one of them got a publisher,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah.
I think somebody, I think it was like Mark Wade who kind of got that publisher to drop him through, I guess, through a very harshly worded phone call or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where like the major lawsuits came in with the whole like torturous interference. You'll probably hear a lot about that off of Ricada streaming because he covered that for a good long while during that time.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just one of the things. Gamergate is something of a different thing. That's when people kind of found out that games journalists are full of shit,
Mm-hmm.
and they were just basically calling them out and just not going to their sites anymore, and
Mm.
or they were just calling up advertisers, telling them not to advertise on their websites anymore.
Why?
It was it was a it was a boycott kind of thing going on because it's like a lot of these games journalists they were very vicious to their consumers, to their readers. They were also they also had a lot of conflict of interest in a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of it's it's a very long and complicated story. I mean, anyone saying that was really just an attempt to harass women out of gaming, they don't know what they're talking about. They just followed
All
whatever
right.
CNN told them to think and just went with that. It was way more complicated than that. And it was building
Mm.
up way more than that.
So it seems to me like it was a matter of like people who were jealous that the audiences weren't going towards
Uh
their stuff, they were going towards another group,
Hold
so
on one
they
sec.
tried to.
All right, continue on.
So it seems like to me like there's two groups. One group who was tired of how things were and they're trying to start their own thing. Thus, another group which kind of like went with the mainstream, but they they're mad that the second group is getting more attention, so they're trying to bring down the second group so that the audience would then have to come to them, or at least that's what they assume that's what's going to work. Is that what I'm basically hearing here?
Yeah, that's kind of what's going on. It's basically throughout a good amount of time, it's like people were complaining about all of the content within comics nowadays, where it's like it's gone
Mm-hmm.
too cringy or too woke in some cases. So they decided to
Mm-hmm.
try to make their own, and and the pros who are making all this cringy content, they didn't like that. So they were trying to pull some strings to try to sabotage them. But
Mm.
but Comics Gate
Okay.
is still going strong. I mean, they still have live streams. They still invite people on who are making stuff
Mm-hmm.
and try to promote one another. So yeah,
So it seems like it's just basically networking.
yeah, it's networking. So yeah,
All right. Well.
if you guys get your comic up and together and you want to do like crowdfunding to get it funded and then printed, you could hit these guys up. Maybe they'll invite you on. You guys can talk about it, show off what you're doing, and maybe it'll be something people will want to read. I mean,
Sure.
that's generally the basics of it all. It's if there's merit in it, if it's something people want, they will fund it. There's no
Right.
guarantee that people will automatically fund it just because you went onto their streams. But if they like it, they'll fund it.
Right. I mean, that's kind of like how it works in business. Like,
Yeah,
people won't automatically join you. Like, you gotta
yeah.
make it worth their while.
Basically, what's going on is that they've created their own business in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard like I've been watching the indie scene slowly growing as of late, and how like right now the indie scene is now like beating most of the mainstreams, like in
Oh
terms of
shit!
numbers. Watch out!
Oh shit!
Should have used a bigger gun.
Yeah, when in doubt, bomb things.
Oh, we better run, 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 run. Take
Yeah,
your
I'm running.
shotgun. All right, I'll
Okay,
do that.
I can knife the rest. Good God. Ah, those fucking pipes. Oh, you
Oh my
motherfucker.
god.
Come on. But yeah, that's.
Shank him. Shank him. Shank those little
Yeah,
Shank those little nuggets.
that's basically what this game is, Jacob. Oh, crap.
Oh, you missed one. There you go.
Yep,
There you
I
go.
see him, I see him. Can I shake him?
Stabbed him right in
Nah,
the stomach.
I don't want to shake him. Revolver. Are you dead?
All right. Yeah, there's still one left. Oh, here comes a big one.
Oh, boy.
Shoot him where it hurts.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Shank, shank, shank. Ah, shit! Always one more with a gun!
Oh my god.
Oh,
God, they're like, just keep running, run, 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 run.
yeah, there's always one more with a gun.
Oh my god. God, they're like the zombies or like Draugr and like Skyrim and Fallout. They just never stop.
Yeah, they just keep coming. Holy shit. But
Oh
yeah,
boy.
that's in level 3 of this game.
Mm.
But yeah, what were we talking about?
I was watching. I said like I was watching the indie scene growing and how like their numbers are like rising above like the mainstream now, and I'm like I have not seen something like this, in a like since like say back when like I wish Exalted Speed was here, like he would also like jump in on this. It's when like Image Comics were like getting their stride, like when like all those like Image people left and they got like super popular. That's what places like comics like Spawn and stuff like that were like beating Marvel and DC in numbers. And I'm seeing something similar to that now. It's like, oh, it's like the ones that you said, like Cyber Frog, um, whatever Raging Golden Eagle is making, that he said he's shilling on his streams constantly.
Alright,
But
one sec.
like, I'm guessing like this may be like, I don't want to say it's gonna be like the next Hollywood, where it's like they completely erase the.
But yeah, it is. It kind of shows a turning point from what happened with what's going on with today's internet technology right now.
Hmm.
Because basically, what it's done is it's making all the stuff that used to be reserved for the professionals, the people within the in group. It's making them accessible to the average Joe, which means,
Hmm.
and that's the thing. There are a lot of people out there, and if you have like 1 out of 10 people who are geniuses, then you get like 10 geniuses for every 100 people out there. And not all of
Hmm.
them are going to have access to this stuff. But with this stuff widely available, everyone does. I mean, right now I
Right.
am currently looking through various game engines to see if I can actually develop my own game right now. But
What about Unity?
yeah, I'm looking into that, but I'm also looking into several other things just to see what works best. But yeah,
Hmm.
Unity seems like the main one right now. But I'm gonna have to wrap up fairly soon right now, guys. So,
All right. You're
but
hitting the 1 hour mark.
yeah, we're past that. So it's been good chilling out.
Definitely. Let me know the next time you're available.